I didn't know anything about a people group called the Gypsies. I came to Hungary, and I knew nothing about a people group called the Gypsies. But this family was Gypsy. They lived in a separate part of town. And we began to do ministry with them. And it just, God broke in both Heidi and I our heart for this particular people group. And so really the reason we got together tonight is for Heidi to get to share some about this people group that her and I are absolutely in love with and have prayed for. And Heidi is going to get to go back and begin working with people who are involved in ministry with the Gypsies who live in Eastern Europe. And so I'm going to invite Heidi and Emily to come on up. And if you could just give them a warm welcome.
Thank you. It's good to laugh together, isn't it? Especially at Eric. I love laughing at Eric. I mean, with him. We are so excited to go on a trip together. It's exciting because Heidi and I have been ministry partners for a long time. Even when we were separated, there was always kind of a connection, and so it's very cool that I get to go with Heidi and see Hungary through her eyes and through her heart. That's something I'm really looking forward to. So I'm just going to tell you a few of the details about our trip. Not a lot, because it turns out we're more of a go-with-the-flow kind of trip. Heidi has done a lot of awesome planning, but we're going to meet with people as people come, and we're excited to see how the Lord leads in that. But first off, the first week, we leave on September 29th, so that's in a week and a half. And our first stop is in Sofia, Bulgaria, and we'll be there for a week, and we'll be living or staying with the missionaries that live there. Their names are the Galloways, and we'll be staying in their home, and they're going to be taking us and seeing the ministries that are going on there with the Roma people, churches that are run by Roma pastors. We'll get to worship with Roma people in their church, which is really exciting. We get to just hear their story and be able to support them and see how we can support them in the future. And then Heidi's going to tell you a lot more about this. But then also, so then we'll be there for a week, and then we get to go to Hungary. We get to travel through Hungary, 3 different towns, meeting with people who are working with the set-free movement and people who are not working with the set-free movement yet but could be. And so we have some exciting places that we're going to go and people we're going to see, but we are most excited to see how Jesus moves and how he leads us and how we can be praying for and supporting the people that are in Hungary and Bulgaria. And we just are so thankful for you as a church family, that you're senders and that your prayers, and we just feel so confident that you have our back in prayer support and everything else. And I would just ask personally that you be praying for my family, one being this guy, but just that they can be having a good 3 weeks without their mom, and just pray for Matt. Maybe bring him a meal if you feel so led. But anyway, I'd ask that you be praying for them too on my behalf. But anyway, here's Heidi.
So we do just want to thank you, and thank you, Emily, for sharing that. We do just want to thank you for your prayer support and for the support of coming out tonight. And this is a fun chance to be together. But thanks for also coming to hear what's going on. And really, as Eric mentioned, we were able, as a young couple, we really felt the Lord leading us to do missions in Hungary short term. So we went, Hungary's the one kind of in the yellowish color there. We were able to go, and it really was there that the Lord broke our heart for the Roma people. And Eric referred to them as gypsies, and really Roma is what they prefer to be called. But as I've mentioned before, they are the most marginalized, the most impoverished, and the most discriminated against people in Europe. And really, it's very hard because they're on the very margins of society. And so the set-free movement, one cool thing is that they really care about abolishing slavery and bringing the freedom of Jesus, as well as helping people out of physical slavery. And one of the hard things about the Roma being so on the edges of society is that when a Roma goes missing, nobody even notices, like except for their family. And no one in the mainstream culture even gives it a second thought or cares. And And so that's just a hard part of the reality of the Roma people. But the awesome thing is that we serve a God who does care and who knows each person's name and the numbers of hairs on their head, and he cares about each one of us. As Emily mentioned, we're really excited to get to go. Hungary, I'm very familiar with. For me, it's like going to a second home. So I'm excited about the different ways we'll be connecting with people there. But we are going to Bulgaria, the one in red, first. And you can be praying with us as we're there. We do get to stay with some missionaries who are from the south, the Galloways, and hopefully we'll be able to tell you more about them when we get back from our trip. So we'll be staying with them, but we'll be traveling to small villages and able to see what God is doing. One of the things we're really excited about, you can flip to the next slide if you want. One of the things we're really excited about is that in Bulgaria, this is almost unheard of, like the Roma church is working with, there are Bulgarian nationals who are working with the Roma, who are also working with missionaries and multiple organizations to try to build a home for the most vulnerable girls in some of these villages. And they're trying to build a home because there it's still very common for girls as young as 11 or 12 to be sold as a bride and just gone. And no one even knows where they go, what happens to them. But Jesus cares about them. And so there are local people who are partnering together in the name of Jesus and wanting to provide a safe place for these girls who are on the edges. So that's something we can be praying about, and I'm really excited about seeing what's happening with that. Also, they're doing training resources in the villages, trying to let people know how to avoid human trafficking and what that looks like. But again, you can really be praying for the local leaders. It's very difficult to be a Christian in Eastern European countries where there are so few believers who actually love Jesus, and that it's not just a religion for, and so they can get easily discouraged. So these are some pictures of some of our friends. This was last summer that we visited them, and two of the girls that Eric was talking about, the one who was with him when he threw away Muriel's shoe, which, by the way, 2 days later, I noticed her shoes were gone. I was like, where did they go? And the girls were at our house again, and she just started laughing, and I could not, and so finally, I had to, like, she only spoke Hungarian, I only spoke English. They were helping us learn the language. She told me, finally, she broke down and told me that Eric threw it in the garbage. So, he did get busted. But so the one who was with Eric when that happened, two of these, the girl in the heart shirt and the boy, are her children. And it just, one of the ways that the Lord just broke our heart as we've gone back multiple times is that here she was, this young girl who was at our home, who was helping us. There are a lot of beautiful things about their culture that they have held on to. But currently, their mom feels like the only way to support her children right now and to help her aging parents to provide food for the family is prostitution. And so the last time we were there, she let us see her kids, but she wouldn't even see us because her heart was too broken to want to visit us in the state that she's in right now. So please be praying for their family as we'll be meeting with them as we're there. And part of Set Free is being able to listen to the Lord and the Holy Spirit and pray about what new futures God is going to create and what he wants for these girls and these women that are stuck in these cycles of poverty and marginalization. You can flip through to the next couple if you want. Eric brought some toys, so we were able to give toys to the kids last time we were there visiting this family. You can flip to the next one too. This family, again, we've known them for about 13 years, and they're doing well right now. And then the last one, if you want. Again, this is the little girl, Jenny, and as I last summer was able to take her out, and that's her aunt, I was able to take her out for coffee and hang out, and she just reminded me so much of her mom. And as I was sitting there across the table from her, I took her to, like, the nicest cafe in town, and we were having cake, and she had a Coca-Cola, and we were having such a nice time together, and I'm speaking Hungarian, like, her level of Hungarian is better than mine, even though she's, like, 4. And I thought to myself, as I was looking there, my heart just broke that, like, what if this was my daughter? And that if something doesn't change, like, the reality is, 7 years from when I saw her last, like, her future could be the same as her mom's. And that so the awesome thing is that the Lord, he does love each and every person, and that we have a chance to partner with what's going on. In Hungary, there's multiple other people we'll be meeting with, as Emily said, some who are already serving through Set Free, some who are already doing some of that work but are not officially tied in with Set Free, so they don't have as many connections here for prayer and support, and we'll be able to connect with them. So I'm sure there's a lot of things that I missed, and I'll have a question and answer time, but a few points of, I guess, like practical application for all of us. One, the biggest thing is prayer. We covet your prayers as we are going, and we also really would love your prayers for the ministries that are going on in those countries and for the Roma people in general. The Lord has great plans for this people group that has been in Europe for over 1,000 years and has maintained their own language and culture amidst all the persecution that they have had. So we know that he cares about them and that there are movements, there are people who love them and are sharing Jesus and trying to bring freedom for them. The second thing is, if you didn't get a chance to sign up for our email back there, our email newsletter, we're going to have a blog and send email updates while we are in Bulgaria and Hungary. As Emily said, our goal is to be partnering with what is going on, being able to listen, come alongside, encourage the believers there, and then be able to bring their stories back and share them not just here, but around the Northwest and maybe further. So that's exciting, so that we'll have new ways to pray and to share and to participate with them. The other thing is, if the Lord lays it on your heart to give financially, that's also a need, not only for our trip, but for further things to happen. I know this home for the girls is almost ready to open. In Budapest, there's a home that was almost totally ready for a rehabilitation, that's not the right word, but for women coming out of being human trafficked or coming out of prostitution, to be able to come and learn new life skills center, there we go, learn new life skills in order to support themselves and their families. That is almost set to open, but again, they had a few setbacks. So there are financial ways we can partner, but if God doesn't call you to financially partner, that's okay too. Please pray, because that's a huge, important piece. Those are some ways you can get involved. If you do want to give, there is a can back there on the table, but there's also you can give through Eastmont Community Church and just put on the byline Hungary or Bulgaria. So those are some ways we can be involved right now. And then one other thing is, I know a lot of you have a passion about human trafficking and wanting to end modern-day slavery. And I know last fall, right before I started a new job, we had one meeting for those people that would be interested in meeting together as a group, talking about this issue, praying about it together, and seeing how we can be helping in our local community, as a lot of you are already doing. And when I get back from my trip, I'm excited about doing another meeting and actually having the time this year to put more thought and effort into that. So there'll be other ways to get involved as well. But thank you so much for coming tonight